All right, welcome back. So now we are going to deal with this section here. It's not as difficult as it looks. It's very simple. Just a section with two separate divs, and they're identical. Inside each div, we have first of all we have an icon. Then next we have an header. Next we have a paragraph, and then we finally have this last span. Okay, so currently let's see what we have again. What we have without CSS. Okay, this is the icon. Everything is just aligned, arranged there. Not so pleasant. So let's add some CSS styles to that section. The section, let's see what ID we give that section. Over to our HTML. Where is it? Okay, we just finished this section. So this is the next section. ID of biz support. ID of business support. That's what we give to the section. And we have the divs inside of it. The first div, okay, we just give them a class of support, both of them a class of support. So let's style our section. ID of business support, the whole section, of course, width of 100%, background color of white, height automatic, display set to flex, and then we turned on flex wrap. Justify content, space evenly, let there be space evenly, let the space be equal. So there's some space here, there's some space here, and there is some space here. Space evenly. Let me see. Okay, margin top 6 m and margin bottom 10 ms. That is, we want some space. Can you see that from here? There is in their own, there is quite some space before the next section, and above as well, there is some space also after this last section. But in our own, ours is kissing both top and bottom, so we're going to just add those styles and see what difference it makes when we save. This should give some separation already. I refresh the page. It's loading. Okay, can you see there has been some separation at the top and at the bottom? And because we set it to row, can you see that it has automatically they've taken their places already? This one is, it looks like it's taking more space self than the other. I don't know where the other content is. Let me see. All right, I don't know where the other content is, but oh, is that not what I have? Okay, there are different contents. This one stops at with customers at programmatic access. Why this one stops at with customers? So they are already there. So we need to now style whatever style we apply to one will affect the other rather. So we're going to style them, and they both have a class of support. So for the support ID, we're giving each of them a width of 80%. Normally, if I give it a width of 50%, that is, they will share. This one will take 50%. The other one to take the remaining 50%. But we don't want them to take the whole space, because can you see that there's still like 10% here and probably 10% here. So if let's assume from here to here is 80%, we still want some leftover of 20%. So we can assume that this is 10% and this is also 10%. But from here to here is 80%. So we give it 80%. Instead of it just taking over the whole page, we gave each of them 40%. So both of them are taking 80%. Flex direction for each of them, column. And of course, that is because it's already on column by default from top to bottom. But still, I just chose to specify that. Justify content. I'm making this mistake again for the second time. Remember, you don't use justify content when you are dealing with when the flex direction is set to column. You use align content. So I'm sure it's not working, and it's not going to work even if you use it in yours. So you can either just ignore that line, remove that line from your own code, or use align content and manipulate the other figures. But if you want to follow exactly what I did, just delete this line, remove this line, and continue. Height set to auto, padding set to 3M, box shadow. Now, if you notice in the original, they have this box shadow, this effect is called box shadow. Can you see the around it? There's just this dark shadow effect. So I tried having something similar for each of them. Each of them should have padding for of 3 that's top, bottom, left, and right. And the div should also have a box shadow. I use this. You can tweak it to suit whatever you want. I think I've talked about the box shadow property before now. And of course, I give each div a border radius of 10 pixel and padding top of 6 come on, padding top of 6 so border radius, can you see that it has some curved edges? And padding top, there's some more space at the top of 10 I believe. All right, okay, 6 padding top of 6 so let's save. Now this style will affect both these because they both carry the same class name. Now let's go to our own page. You can see that they are almost looking alike self, even from top. So now when we refresh, look at the adjustment that we made. Okay, all right, we're not done anyway. We're not done. Apparently this is what we have. Is looking close but not totally what we have here. So we're going to style all these elements inside of it so it can give us what we want. Next, okay, the icon we got from Font Awesome. These icons, this at the top here, we got them from Font Awesome, and the class, it came with a class of FA Solid. Actually, unlike Bootstrap, with Bootstrap, when you try to style their elements using their own classes, it might not just work well for you. It might just go bad, except you had your own class or your own ID. So where is it self? Okay, we've not gotten there. Support. Okay, yeah, yes, the icon. This is the icon from Font Awesome. FA Solid. FA Solid. So FA Solid is the class. The other ones are, subclasses. So FA Solid is the class. Once I style FA Solid, it affects both icons. And unlike Bootstrap, that if you try to style a Bootstrap element using its class, you might actually have a bad time. But this one, I just tried it and it worked. So I gave that for the font color light green. I gave it a font size of 3 I want it bigger, and I gave it margin bottom of 1 I save, and we want margin bottom some space below. I want it to be changed to color green, light green, and bigger. So when I refresh now, can you see? It is all there. It is all there. So this one, remember, every icon on Font Awesome has that same class. So all the icons are being affected by this style, except we now add an ID to this one and restyle it. So apparently it is dancing along to the tune of this one. So we're going to adjust it as well. Let's see what we have in our markup. In our markup, okay. All right. After the paragraph, if you look at the second one, I had to give it an ID of arrow1, so I can style it separately because can you see it also carries the class of FA Solid. So I'm talking about specificity. We know that ID overrules the styles on an ID overrules every other style. So I gave it an ID of arrow1. The other one I gave it an ID of arrow2, and with that I was able to style them separately. So back to CSS now. Let's first of all the H3. We have an H3. This guy here. We're adding some styles to it. I'm increasing the font size to 2 I'm changing the font family, and I'm giving it space below margin bottom of 1 and that is because I still want more space after this. I want more space between this H3 and this paragraph. So next, let's also start the paragraph once and for all. The paragraph, I just increased the font size and I gave it an opacity of 0.9. Remember, if you look at the original, it's not as dark. Can you see that it's not as dark as normal black? And that's because of the opacity effect. So I also apply that opacity effect to it. And then arrow text. Let's see what the arrow text class is. Class rather. Arrow text. Okay. All right. This is the arrow text, the one that has the download app. Oh, sorry, the anchor tag. There's an anchor tag inside of it. The anchor tag has and you see this anchor tag particularly. So I gave the arrow tag, the anchor tag, a class of arrow text. I gave that to both of them. So whatever style I apply on it will affect those two links. And I give it color. I change the color to black. Currently we have something that looks like blue and is very big right now. So I'm changing the color to black. I'm reducing the font size to 0.9 em. Font weight semi bold 400. Margin left 1.1 em. I want a little more space. You know, it's kind of choked up. It's just kissing this icon. So I want a little more space. So I gave it a margin left of 1.1 em. Text decoration, I set it to none. So it's going to remove this underline property for me. And then lastly, I gave it a font family. So I saved now, applying the styles to this, and this. Let's see what we have for now. And then, okay, this is what we have. So it's kind of smaller now. This is a little dim, opacity of 0.9. All right, this is still a little big. Let's see what they have originally. Can you see? It's quite, the whole thing is quite very small. So now I'm going to have to style the whole of it together. But for now, let's move. So we ignore that for now. We're going to come back to it. Now the next thing we are styling is the collapse, and that is the next section. Remember, we are not done with this particular section. We're still going to have to adjust the size of these guys. They are quite big, but according to the way I wrote my styles, for now we're just going to leave it and move to this section. And I give the section an ID of collapse, and that's where we used that's where we had our bootstrap accordion. So we'll do that very soon. See you in the next video.